right. I realized I should have told you this beforehand, but I forgot to tell you that we really should start referring to each other. And I thought maybe 2 or 1. I was watching Wrath of Man, so I was like, "Oh, that's kind of like a great idea." Well, I'll call him, number 1 or number 2.
Okay, I haven't seen it. I don't know if I want to be 1 or 2.
Why don't you be number 1?
I don't
care.
What if I want to be like 100?
I'll call you 100.
Or I don't know. Why numbers?
Well, okay. You want me to call you a Roman numeral? I mean, it doesn't matter.
I mean,
we'll figure this shit out. I mean, eventually we'll have code names.
Call me X.
Call you X?
I'll be X for 10. I was going to say 10 before I said 100, but then I jumped. But
X was a great idea.
I called it. I don't even care that you've got the X on your shirt. They can't see it.
Man. Just call me you then. Or El Diablo. Call me El Diablo.
Okay.
Or the Magic Man.
All right.
Now you see me?
Yeah, there you go.
Now you don't.
All right.
Okay.
I've that didn't come from any sort of pop culture reference at all.
No. That's all our own.
Original.
That's right.
So we're here today on Get It Raw for vitamin C.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's been waiting for vitamin C because we're talking about immunity. And this is the first vitamin that we go to when we're talking about, or when we think about getting a cold. I got a runny nose, a sore throat. I better go take my maybe I shouldn't say.
No, it's fine. You can
emergency.
Yeah, emergency.
Because it's packed full of that vitamin C. What is it? 2, 3, 4, 500% of a daily value.
Yeah, sounds about right. I mean, or they start immediately drinking orange juice, and
which is loaded with sugar, by the way.
Which is loaded with sugar.
And I think it's maybe even the added sugar, depending on the kind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a ton of added sugar.
Yeah,
man.
I don't drink juices.
Yeah. I mean, it's like drinking soda.
Yeah.
And not to mention that these infections, whether they're bacterial or viral, it doesn't matter. Especially the bacteria, they live off of sugar.
They love it. That feeds them.
That's what allows them to make more babies.
It drives me crazy every single time I see somebody somewhere offering, get your vaccinations with us for COVID-19 and get a cookie, get a get a beer, I've seen them giving away. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I know. It's like, the problem with COVID-19 is the obesity issue, the metabolic issues. But guess what? We're going to give you a case of cotton candy if you get the vaccination. And then you're cured. You don't have to worry about anything.
You got to go back to your whole old way of life. We're going to get back to normal, which is
getting fat and working your ass off.
Yeah.
But you can't take the mask off.
You can if you've been vaccinated.
You can if you've been vaccinated. Depending on where you work and where you're going or who you're with and blah, 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 blah. But instead, they could be saying, hey, listen, here's some ideas to help you strengthen your immune system. Here are some ways to help lose some weight. Here are some things that you can do to decrease your stress. Here are some things that you can do to combat the potential for catching COVID-19 and passing it on. Or anything else. We're going to talk about vitamin C, but you're talking about the common cold, you're talking about the flu, you're talking about any type of respiratory infection, the big one being pneumonia. There's a plethora of things that you could be protecting yourself from if you eat well, stay active and move a lot, and de-stress. Right?
That's right.
That's what I think. I don't know.
Enter Get It Raw. With X and the Magic Man.
Yeah, the Magic Man. No, so I'll take raw. I'll just take raw. Okay, X. All right. All right. So vitamin C, other words known as ascorbic acid. It's pumped into everything. It's like I put that shit on everything.
Was that Frank's Red Hot?
I think so.
Or is it Tabasco?
No, I think it's Frank's Red Hot.
Okay.
I don't think Tabasco has.
Is there vitamin C in Frank's?
If not now, there probably will be. I mean, come on.
Get it.
Get it.
Somebody send me a vitamin C, a high concentration of vitamin C hot sauce.
Exactly.
That would be great.
So,
because I do put that shit on everything. I've got a refrigerator full of hot sauces.
Well, you'll if it's made from peppers, which most likely is because capsaicin is the number one ingredient for heat, okay, from a pepper, then it's high in vitamin C. The question you should be asking yourself is it processed out? Aha.
I'll bet you all of those top shelf marketed supermarket ones probably is, unfortunately.
And they're gonna pump that shit in there. They're gonna enrich it, and what we need to think about too is that it's also a water soluble vitamin. And what does that mean? Well, that means,
me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get back on track. Vitamin C, water soluble.
Okay. It's a water soluble vitamin, which means that it can you can cook it out of food.
Oh,
you can, exactly. You can leach it out of food. So if you're like you have some let's say. I don't know. I can't think right now. But you can basically leach it out of your... Oh, let's think about spinach.
I was just going to say, cooking my greens.
Yeah, you're cooking some spinach. It's high in vitamin C. Or even some like green peas. You put in a pot of boiling water. You start to cook it. You cook it for a long time, which is not a bad thing because you're worried about other nutrients like lectin proteins. You're trying to cut back on those. But anyway, you cook it down and then you dump the water. Well, the vitamin C's most likely been leached from that spinach into the water. You dump the water, you dump the vitamin C. Now how much vitamin C do you have from that spinach? Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So that's the potential that you're dealing with, especially when you're processing foods. Okay. So let's go over a couple of roles. Vitamin C is a very important portion of your immune system. We were talking earlier before we started recording that everybody goes to it when they get sick, especially when they get a cold. They start to sneeze, they start to sniffle, and they go straight away to the vitamin C. 15, 20 years ago, it was no different than it is today. Vitamin C, vitamin C, vitamin C. But if you looked into the literature, if you were studying nutrition, if you were a food scientist, if you were any type of researcher, you're looking into the literature, and the literature really did not support the use of vitamin C to prevent or to treat your common cold, let alone
had
flu.
Heard that just a couple years ago. Not even, probably maybe 2 years ago.
Heard that it didn't support it?
That there wasn't evidence behind it.
Right, exactly. And the point is that like the literature just wasn't identifying where it could be helpful. But now we have some newer information. We have some newer understanding. There's a whole bunch of newer literature in the last 10 years that's really cut through and being able to show how it could potentially be used for the prevention of a common cold or flu or any other like respiratory infection and its ability to treat you as well. And it's become much more common in the last 10 years for intravenous care. So we'll talk more about this down the road. But they're also combining it with other medications and other nutrients to help people combat COVID or to fight pneumonia or to overcome the flu. And we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
But we'll go to we'll go down the roles here, and we'll try to go from like the bigger roles to no, that's not a good way to put it. No, bigger role that's not a good way. Let's just go to a one role, and we'll just like start trickling down.
Yeah, just roll it out.
Okay, roll out. All right, that's a good song. Okay, so one of the things that vitamin C is most known for is scurvy, or the lack of vitamin C leads to scurvy. You ever had that?
No, I don't think so.
No.
How does it work? What does it do?
Well, mostly sailors get it.
Yeah.
And that's why Popeye's walking around with one tooth.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
So
your gums consist primarily of collagen. Okay. Connective tissue. Connective tissue is made up of collagen. Connective tissue is all over your body. You and I talk about this when practice with our patients all the time. We're talking about tendons and fascia and ligaments and capsules, articular cartilage, labrums, menisci, disc, all that stuff. Well, your blood vessels, your muscles, your bones, everything consists of collagen. It uses collagen as a matrix to build its structure. Well, vitamin C is a part of that process. If you do not have vitamin C, you cannot develop as much collagen, nor can you develop very strong collagen. So, in the absence of vitamin C, like a sailor, back in the 1700s or 1600s or 1800s, going across the Atlantic, they're going to be vitamin C deficient. they started to lose teeth because the collagen within their gums would start to break down. They would start to bleed.
Ooh.
Yeah. And there was a number of other conditions, so it has an effect. And, collagen synthesis for tissue healing has an effect in cardiovascular system. It affects your hormonal system. It affects your neurotransmitter system. So it affects your nervous system, in essence. But for today, the reason why collagen synthesis is important to the immune system is because your skin has a lot of collagen. That's why it stretches. And so if you have poor collagen synthesis or weak collagen, that means when you do suffer an injury, you're more likely to get an infection or more likely to break down that collagen and therefore suffer from an infection, possibly.
I will say I've been seeing a little bit more and more use of collagen supplementation lately. So that's something that I guess we'll probably talk about that when we talk about where to get the vitamin C. Well, right. I mean today, because we're going to get to where the sources, and of course we supplement vitamins.
Yeah. Well, so if you're taking the vitamin C, you're going to have stronger collagen. Okay, so that means your skin will be a little bit stronger, but your skin is the first barrier to outside influences.
How much collagen do I need, or how much vitamin C do I need to build up my skin strong enough, thick enough to stop a bullet? Or at least a Tori Hanzo samurai sword.
Okay, that's simple. I mean, that's like a truckload of oranges.
Okay.
Or limes.
I see those driving down the street all the time, driving down the highway.
Yeah, if you can get that all in one day, and you got to do that every day, then you should be fine.
So just inject straight orange squeeze.
Yeah, just that's the best idea. Just insert a needle in your arm, attach it to a funnel, and just start putting orange juice down your.
Okay, I'll just throw it in the backpack and walk around with it.
That's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, you're rucking.
Delivery.
You're rucking with vitamin C. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, losing weight, developing stronger collagen at the same time. That's perfect.
I did that the other day, but I don't want to throw you off topic too much.
You were eating an orange while carrying oranges.
Rucking. I was rucking. Just straight rucking.
Oh, yeah?
Walking the dog, however much that the weighted vest is, it's heavy.
Yeah, no,
it's a great exercise. I'm like, this thing's full of lead weights. It would stop a bullet. Thick lead weights. It's heavy.
Not your skin, though.
No.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I mean, that's what every guy wants, right? Maybe down the road with genetic sequences and therapy. Maybe. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah. I mean, that's a conversation for another day, I'm sure.
Badass.
Yeah.
But okay, so anyway, getting back to vitamin C is going to strengthen the collagen, therefore it's going to act as a better barrier for infection, whether it be viral or bacterial.
Good.
So that's important, okay? You have no skin? You're in trouble. All right. It also helps with keratin. Do you know what a keratin is? Or a keratinocyte?
Tell me again. Well, I think it's what makes up your fingernails.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a harder tissue in the body.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. Your fingernails, your hair.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a part of the whole collagen.
So when you say hair, that is not just that's hair on the arms, hair on the head.
Yeah, sure.
How about the cilia that line the tracks? Is that the same thing? Like keratin?
The cilia that line the tracks of your nose? Is that
your nose, and are there not cilia all throughout the body and the internal organ tracts and everywhere?
No.
Okay.
No, you don't have hair throughout your GI system or anything like that. That's a microvilli. They're like little fingers, but they're like little fingers without hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got little tiny micro hairs as well as tiny micro fingers. All right, that's why I was probably confused.
Yeah. I mean...
But so the one cilia in the nose.
Is that why you cough up hairballs every now and then?
I thought so.
Oh, man. All right. That explains a lot. That was just silly. What are you talking about?
Yeah. No. Okay.
But
that sounds important, though. If we got cilia that line the nose and keratin makes up some of the hairs, then we need that to keep a healthy filtration system through our air intake system.
That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That is a great way to put it. Your air filtrate system, which helps acts as another barrier to prevent infection. So that's very important. But it increases the keratinocyte differentiation, which means it helps the keratinocyte differentiate into that keratin, if that makes any sense. And then it also helps with lipid synthesis for your cell membranes. So, meaning that every cell in your body, whether it's a skin or a blood vessel, or red blood cell or white blood cell, or if it's a rod in your eye, or a taste bud in your mouth, or a muscle, it's surrounded by a membrane. That membrane is a physical barrier, again, to foreign invaders. So the vitamin C helps form that lipid. It's a lipid. It's a phospholipid membrane, if you would, that keeps things out and allows certain things to come in and out as needed.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. And then it also helps with fibroblast proliferation and migration.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. That's why we have the Graston tools.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Fibroblast proliferation is kind of like the creation of new cells and dispersing them throughout the body?
Yeah, well, into the extracellular matrix.
Okay.
And helps with the extracellular matrix. Remember, creating all those like little scaffolds and all those like little lines that attach or that give your cells structure or connect cells with one another, and it moves nutrients and materials back and forth. A healthy extracellular matrix allows you to like push nutrients through the tissue to feed other nutrients, but it also keeps things connected so you can move nice and easily without tearing anything or breaking anything apart. That's how you stay young. Yeah. The more extracellular matrix you have, the less wrinkles you have.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's good. I mean, we're going to start marking this after this.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay, so what does this all mean? It also means that this is extremely important for wound healing. Okay? If you have suffered a wound, in your case, a gunshot.
Right.
Don't know why somebody's shooting at you, but a gunshot wound.
Yep.
Did you pull the bullet out yourself, like with your teeth?
No, just the fingers. I don't have that kind of flexibility.
Oh man,
get my teeth down there.
It's amazing. Okay, down there.
No, yeah, down to the center, my stomach area where they're shooting at.
You didn't just go and pop it out.
No, not yet.
With those abs of yours? No,
not yet.
You'll get there.
I'll bet.
A few more oranges, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have a wound, whether it's a cut, a laceration, or a puncture, or just like a typical tear, and it doesn't have to be necessarily outside of the body or exposed to the outside. It could be something that's internal. Vitamin C helps with that wound for healing. And one of the nutrients that it works with is zinc. And so if you don't have zinc, you remember zinc provides like little fingers that helps pick up proteins like a crane, and it goes from one area to another to basically assemble an amino acid.
Okay.
Or maybe it's better to say it takes amino acids and picks it up and moves it over to form a protein. That's the better way of saying it. So if you don't have enough zinc, then you don't have enough cranes with fingers to pick up those amino acids to make the structure that you're trying to make, whether it be muscle or a new white blood cell or a red blood cell or a brain cell, whatever it is. But vitamin C works with the zinc to help increase your antibodies. It helps, and it helps in the production of these proteins to make antibodies, to create physical barriers. Okay, and then which also helps with cells to proliferate, especially when it comes to your immune system. So when we start to talk about your immune system, we'll talk about the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system, and those two things rely on genetic activation and then a genetic expression to start to make those structures, and that's where vitamin C and zinc play a role. The other thing that vitamin C does is it increases the neutrophil extracellular trap, aka the NET. Neutrophil extracellular trap. This is really cool. So it helps form it. When you have an injury, your body, your neutrophils will get over there. They'll chomp down on anything that looks like it could possibly hurt you. All right. And then that neutrophil, we'll talk about later, will either commit suicide or another immune cell will come and eat it to make sure that nothing will harm you. That neutrophil will release, as it's dying, it will release these proteins called, these large proteins that are called chromatin and antimicrobial proteins that will capture any extracellular pathogens, any foreign invaders or bacteria or virus, and it'll do that, and it'll stick to it, and limiting the infection. So you get a cut, your neutrophils are on the spot, they take care of business, then they start to trap all that stuff. The net uses the net concept, traps it to prevent any further infection. That's cool, man.
Yeah, this now my mind is blown. Like I'm just sitting here thinking about all the micro, nano, just things that happen with simple just cut. You get a cut. This whole reaction, chain reaction, then things are catching, eating, dying, killing, releasing more. Like it just keeps on blooming. The body just keeps blooming, cell after cell, protein after protein.
But isn't that beautiful though?
It is.
We're like we don't realize this, but we're superhumans.
Yeah.
Like you get cut, your body's already automatically working on it to like close it down. And we see those movies where people close the wound really quickly. Yeah. I wonder how many oranges are they having?
It just really does go to show that you are what you eat. Like this is your gain. You get those cells. You get this capability from the foods that you are eating, from the nutrients that you are putting into your body to recreate the cells, to preserve and recreate new cells. Yeah. That's why they, I don't want to say everybody knows, but I've heard a lot of people say and are familiar with the concept that we, in 7 years, I've heard both our taste buds. We have all new taste buds in 7 years. I said, no, I think we have all new cells in 7 years. Our entire body has turned over. Yeah. Every cell in your body today will be dead and gone and will be completely new in 7 years from now. All new cells.
Yeah.
That is just that blows me away.
It's like a snake that like sheds its skin. That's what it is, and it's freaking cool, man. I mean,
we don't shed one skin at a time, but if you go and wipe off the fan blades, there's part of it.
Yeah. Well, I tell my patients, when we're talking about tissue healing, how long does it take for a fracture to heal? 2 to 3 months. What about muscle? Depending on the severity of it, anywhere from 1 or 2 weeks to 3 months. Depending also on the comorbidities that you have.
Yeah.
Do you have diabetes? Do you have osteoporosis? Do you have renal failure, heart disease? Whatever it may be. And from this perspective, when you're dealing with the skin forms new skin cells every 14 days. Every 14 days, every 2 weeks, you're walking around in a new layer of skin.
Yeah.
That's like great. That's like huge. And remember, that's collagen, right? And then your ligaments and your tendons and your capsules and your articular cartilage, talking to people about that takes 1 to 2 years to recover from.
Yeah.
They can get more resilient, but they don't replace themselves but every 1 to 2 years. That's the average rate of tissue healing. So I know a lot of people oh man, come on. Like that's too long. But it's amazing that your body does that in of itself anyway.
Right.
I mean,
what are you going to do? That's too long. That's too far from now. But this is something that you do every day.
Yeah.
When you eat, when you refill.
Have you heard
put things in?
Have you heard of people who get really excited about the idea of downloading their consciousness into a robot, and then they're like a technologically advanced robot that they think humans will eventually become?
Yeah.
Like Rogan says, we're like technological caterpillars that are gonna eventually bloom into a robot.
Right.
The problem I have with that is that metal oxidizes.
Right.
Metal is malleable. Metal doesn't have a biological control center that replaces itself, fixes itself, regenerates itself. The reason why we evolved into these like human bodies is because, like you said, every day they're fixing themselves and retry. They are resilient. Skin is extremely resilient compared to like metal. So I kind of like get taken back by that every now and then, and I'm like, this is great. We're doing well right now anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does all that mean? Well, basically that means that vitamin C, in addition to zinc, will help decrease your tissue damage, from an injury, and also help decrease the possibility of necrosis.
Tissue death.
Yeah, exactly. And the spread of that tissue death, right? So that's gross. And as we said before, it's a water-soluble vitamin, so it circulates mostly within the circulation of your bloodstream, as well as the extracellular matrix. And it also has a certain amount of concentration within neutrophils, which is a part of your immune system, your innate immune system. So neutrophils are an immunocell, an immune cell, and it houses a certain concentration of vitamin C in case it needs to kill something, which is kind of cool. It acts as a weak antihistamine agent, meaning, and this is one of the reasons why people probably take a lot of it when they are sneezing, their allergies are up, or they feel like they're under a little common cold. It is a weak antihistamine agent, which means that it suppresses the release of histamine. So that way you have less symptoms when you're like sneezing or sniffling and whatnot, for like sinus infections and such like that. The other thing, it's the most common thing. If you're thinking vitamin C, you're probably thinking scurvy, but you'll probably also think about it as an antioxidant, right?
Okay.
So,
I mean, I don't think about scurvy or antioxidant, but I probably am more on that antihistamine thought for the sneezing or and when I say I mean general public population.
So when we first brought up vitamin C, what was the first thing that came to your brain then? Was it the antihistamine effect?
Well, it was sneezing, coughing, sore throat.
Okay.
And to relieve that, it sounds like you're saying, is that antihistamine response that it gives you.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I mean, the scurvy never crossed my mind. I don't think about that consciously anyway. I didn't think about my gums or my teeth or sailors, but just the general symptoms of cold or flu, that's where my mind went. Now, I didn't realize that it acted as an antihistamine or think about it relieving those symptoms because of, or the need or the use of antihistamines to help that. But that's interesting that it does provide that as well as.
That's so interesting that you think about it as an antihistamine effect, but you don't think about it from a scurvy effect. In fact, like research, this is back in like the 1600s, 1500s, 1600s, sailing across the Atlantic was like becoming a much more common thing with European countries.
Yeah.
And I forget the book that we read in school. It's a really cool book. So essentially, if it wasn't for scurvy, we could have lost the Revolutionary War. And the reason was the Europeans who were sailing from London, England, or from Wales over to America to fight us, they would go with they'd end up with vitamin C deficiencies.
They're coming off a voyage across the ocean to fight people that are living here.
That's right. And there was a surgeon at the time. Surgeons did not have a high status in the medical community, and at the time, to treat scurvy, people were using like mercury and cyanide and stuff like that. Just crazy shit. That was the medical standard of the day.
No wonder they weren't high on the list of people you wanted to see.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, so this surgeon who's on the board, he conducts I want to say it was one of the first ever random clinical trials. He was actually applying the scientific method and doing research on the ship, which he never got credit for until today. He was on the low totem pole of medical school of medicine as a surgeon, and he basically separated sailors into groups: ones that received mercury, ones that received cyanide, ones that received a control. What the control was like limes. And what he noticed was the people that had the limes got better.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, he's like, well, lime, there must be something in lime that takes care of the scurvy. Had no idea it was vitamin C. And so at that time, he was advocating to just take piles and piles and piles of lime. And that's why sailors were called limeys. Okay?
Didn't know that either.
Well, this is an important part.
Wait a minute. A limey, like a limey bastard?
I don't know, and they just
because I've heard that term.
Was the thing. But
it sounds like I think I heard it from a pirate.
But you limey bastard!
I might have thought it was blimey.
Blimey? I could
maybe that's more of a British thing. I don't know.
I can't really understand them anyway. But the point is that this surgeon showed in the historical documents that lime was essential for one's health, for one's collagen, to prevent scurvy.
Yeah.
And he never really proved that it was vitamin C. Nobody ever understood that until around the 40s and the 50s, the 1900s. Mm-hmm. But at that point in time, he was able, even though he's kind of scoffed at it first, he was able to convince medicine to allow sailors to take citrus fruits with them, or concentrated ales or juices
in their Yeti coolers.
On their Yeti coolers, to travel across the Atlantic in order to colonize the Americas or to fight in a Revolutionary War. And the idea is that they've lost far more sailors due to scurvy. And what outcome that would have had on the war, who knows, but it may have contributed.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
But anyway, we're fighting here.
Anyway, so the bottom line is that vitamin C is used for collagen to help block infection. So if we talk about it as an antioxidant, though, we need to talk about it as it's circulating through the bloodstream, it's circulating in the extracellular matrix, where water travels essentially because it's water soluble. It's going to have a hard time getting into cells because it doesn't have that lipid barrier. It has to, it doesn't have a transporter to push it in.
Okay.
And that lipid membrane is going to kind of like prevent that from coming in. So, but anyway, as it's circulating throughout the bloodstream, it's going to, if it comes across a free radical, quote unquote, free radical, otherwise known as a reactive oxygen species. So remember we talked about this. You breathe in an infection, or you exercise and you damage a cell.
Yeah.
You have a reactive oxygen species or a free radical because you ate something bad that starts to damage the membranes of your tissues because it's stealing electrons from those membranes, and it leads to cell death, and it just keeps going, keeps like a domino effect. Well, vitamin C, as it circulates, when it comes across that free radical, kills it right away. It kills it because it gives it an electron. It donates an electron to it, and so it saves everything and gets rid of that free radical, and which then means that it prevents the damaging of the cell membranes and allows your cells to live. It because it has a higher concentration in your neutrophils. The neutrophils, and their way of attacking like a foreign invader, is through what's called chemotaxis. So it releases like a host of chemicals that within it, and it basically eats away at that foreign invader, like that bacteria or that virus. So it just basically destroys it through chemistry. And the vitamin C allows for that because it has an increased concentration in the neutrophil. It will maintain and neutralize free radicals formed within the immune cells. So your immune cells, this is really kind of like blew my mind. Your immune cells, in the innate immunity as well as the adaptive immunity, they will purposely make oxidative agents or free radicals or reactive oxygen species like hydrogen peroxide to kill a foreign invader.
So I'm thinking like
that's huge.
I didn't need to run out and inject myself with hydrogen peroxide after Donald Trump told us that we should do that.
I think you got it wrong. I think he was saying bleach.
Yeah, or I thought maybe Lysol even.
Yeah. That's why there was an empty bottle on your counter.
You saw that?
Oh, you had it.
I thought I put that away. No, literally, I told you I was rucking with that vest, which was I picked it up I picked up those tires, those giant tires, and a vest came with it. So that dude's like, I'll take these tires and I'll give you the vest too. I put the vest on. The thing smelled terrible. I'm walking around the neighborhood like this thing smells like horrible.
You're the only one smelling it though.
So, well, of course, yeah, because I'm wearing it. I'm the only one wearing it. Yeah, but it's like straight, like this thing has been sweat in and is gross, and I'm wearing it. And so I came home and I grabbed the Lysol. I sprayed the whole thing down. I turned. I set the Lysol down on the table next to the weight bench. Took a step and stopped. I'm like, wait a minute. Why did I just set it down right there? I need to put this back where I got it, under the sink, put it away so it's not just sitting out of in my area. And you're telling me that I must have left it out there, I guess. Oh, well,
no, I'm just fucking with you.
Okay.
I'm just giving you a hard time because, I can see you shooting up with some Lysol. Like,
I use that. I nebulize it. Just it's already aerosol, so it's easy. Just
I see. What do you do if you're eating clean? That's another question. And what are you doing to that?
Yeah, I Lysol my lettuce before I eat it. Obviously.
Use a little bit of duster on your cabbage, to clean it up.
No, seriously though, some of the vegetables I started getting lately, I'm having them shipped to the house now. All the leftover or all the unwanted vegetables that are too ugly to go to the supermarket, send them here. They're cheap. I opened this box up and I like the spinach was dirty. And we've talked about, the dirt and the earth. And I'm like, all right, well, I ain't going to wash that. So I saved it and ate it in a salad. And I'm like literally crunching
gross
dirt. Yeah, it was a little too much.
That's why you feel good, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Ugh.
Maybe. I don't know. But could have, yeah. It was like, all right,
you do know that there are things like bacteria, virus, protozoa.
Listen,
there's parasites.
there may be, but not in here.
You're saying ain't nothing wrong with getting
whatever
strong.
happens between outside and inside from my body zaps it.
You're preparing it.
Like I honestly, I can't remember ever having like what is it, like food poisoning.
Food poisoning, yeah.
Never do I feel sick after eating.
Oh, good for you.
Anything.
Don't jinx yourself though. You're still young.
Yeah, knock on that wood there, but still young. I mean, 40's coming.
Yeah,
it's young-ish, but it ain't 20.
When I was a kid, 40 was old, man.
Yeah, but I mean, at what age do we consider like time or age catching up with us? At what age are we not? What age are we still young? Yeah. And when are we not still young? That we assume our body's going to take care of you until you're this age.
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong person. I'm an idealist. I'm idealistic about it. So I like.
Well, so am I. I don't think there should be an age that our body doesn't take care of ourselves.
I agree. I still feel like I'm 20.
Yeah.
And, 40 is right around the corner, and I'm like, something wrong with me because I don't feel like you would think a 40-year-old would feel like. I don't make that noise when I sit down. Like, oh.
I can recognize some of the changes. Mm-hmm. I make that noise sometimes.
Do you?
Getting down or getting up. Yeah. But also, like we had talked about the other day, staying up late.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe like it's like a hangover, but it lasts for several days.
Yeah,
it takes a few days for me to get back or recover from being up till 2 a.m.
But I don't think that's recovery. I just think that you know what it feels like to get the sleep, and feel awesome when you get good sleep versus
perhaps
not getting the sleep. When you're young,
always
you're just
being just strung out and tired.
Yeah,
operating off of 2 and 3 hours of sleep.
Well, when you're young, you're just partying, man. You don't have time to sleep, so you don't even realize how crappy you feel until you're 40 and you're starting to get some sleep. That's how I feel. Right. Anyway, let's get back. I know people are kind of antsy about this vitamin C stuff. So yes, it will protect the. It'll help maintain and neutralize free radicals within your bloodstream, but it also helps protect your immune cells from those free radicals that they themselves create to destroy foreign particles, which is awesome. It maintains the homeostasis within your immune cells, meaning the balance, right? It helps with what's called neutrophil apoptosis or apoptosis.
Okay.
I know there's an argument between apoptosis and apoptosis, but
is there a silent letter in there?
I guess so. I don't know. I always called it apoptosis, but there's other providers that say, no, you're not supposed to say it like that. For
how do you spell it?
Or no, I'm sorry, ptosis. They call it
ptosis without the P.
Ptosis.
That's what I was saying. The ptosis, I thought was where the A? Is there an A?
No, it's an A. It's apoptosis. And so a lot of people say, don't say the A. Don't say apoptosis. It's supposed to be ptosis.
Do some people say ptosis?
I guess
ignoring the first 2 letters.
I don't know. It's. I don't know, man.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
It just means cell death.
Cell death. Okay.
Every cell has a program in it that when it gets to like end of life, or it gets to where it's been infected badly, it'll click on this program to kill itself. And this is where cancer comes in sometimes, because sometimes it doesn't recognize that signal or that program. It says, I ain't fucking killing myself.
Override. Yeah.
Exactly. Override. Manual. And they don't kill themselves, and then they just go rogue and start to multiply.
Cancer may almost be like cellular AI in the body.
Yeah.
The body said, listen, kill yourself now, cancer. And that cancer says, I'm not doing that.
I don't think so.
That's not in my best interest.
Right.
I got this guy over here. I got this guy over here. We're going to grab some more buddies, we're going to kill you.
So that's the point, though, is that when the neutrophil comes in and it releases these chemicals to kill the foreign invader, and it grabs that foreign invader, it's got to kill itself. It's been destroyed. It's been harmed. The chemicals are within its cell membrane, so it literally sheds its cell membrane and opens up. So it's already basically dead or dying. So there's a program in there for that neutrophil to basically kill itself the rest of the way. The other portion of that is that the macrophages, which are completely other immune cell, another immune cell, will come in and swallow up that neutrophil and get rid of it. Because you just got to get rid of the dying cells. You can't keep them around. Can't keep the dead bodies there. And especially if they've been like used to basically combat like a foreign invader, like bacteria or a virus.
Man.
So it helps with that. It clears the neutrophils, again, by activating the macrophages at the sites of infection. So it doesn't like wait around for the neutrophil to come back to like base. Macrophages show up, say, okay, you did your job, great job. I know you're hurting. And they go, gulp, gotcha. And they eat them,
Good.
essentially, and destroy them.
Good.
It also is an antioxidant to your leukocytes and your lymphocytes. The lymphocytes are the ones that are in your adaptive immune system. So it basically protects them and keeps them from breaking down.
Strap them up.
Now, we talked about this number of times that every part of your body does more than one thing. So even though vitamin C is used as an antioxidant, it is also used as a way to regenerate antioxidants that have already been used within your body. Okay, so we have a water-soluble antioxidant. We also have a fat-soluble antioxidant and vitamin E. But when vitamin E has been used, it's missing an electron. Vitamin C will give it an electron, which will revitalize it. And so now it's good to go.
All
and
right.
it can work again.
All right.
Okay?
Teamwork.
That's right, teamwork. And it's not just vitamin E, but it also works by rejuvenating glutathione, which is huge. We're finding more and more a lot of evidence that glutathione is essential for immunity, for immune health, especially when you're talking about autoimmune diseases.
That came back to vitamin B, right?
That's a part of vitamin B.
Yeah.
But glutathione, if you don't have enough glutathione, then it's easier for your immune system to be suppressed and for you to get sick. So, and it's an antioxidant. And vitamin C will rejuvenate that. It will also rejuvenate lipoic acid. I'm sorry, I apologize. That doesn't rejuvenate lipoic acid. It works with vitamin E, lipoic acid, zinc, and selenium, which are also important antioxidants, okay? To basically make components for antioxidant enzymes that protect you against oxidation. So it's an antioxidant in itself. Then it rejuvenates other antioxidants. Then it works with other nutrients, which are other antioxidants, to make antioxidant enzymes to protect you against oxidation.
Let's not let this information get to that AI or future mechanical body that we're working on, because if they get a hold of that and they can start to antioxidize or deoxidize themselves, their metal,
then we're screwed.
We're screwed. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, how badass is that, man? I mean, your body is so smart. It's just, I don't know.
It's the most advanced thing in the known universe. I'm going to say the known universe because
and this goes back to what we talked about before, where nutrients don't work by themselves, because they work as a team to do a number of other things. So we're just talking about vitamin E, we're talking about selenium and zinc, and we're talking about lipoic acid. It also works with iron and copper to make other enzymes for your immunity. This is new. This is newly discovered. We are finding new enzymes that help you in your immune system to combat, conditions, diseases, and sicknesses. And it works with your iron and copper to do that. And here's what's cool. If you have vitamin C, when you're eating like a steak or something like that, it increases your ability to absorb iron.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you're low on iron, vitamin C will help you increase your absorption of iron.
Okay. All right.
Ain't that cool?
Yeah.
It's badass, man. All right. So the other thing that it does is it regulates your epigenetics for your immune system, for your immune cells, and regulating them. So it does this by increasing the immune cells' proliferation, so its ability to make itself. It increases their function, and it increases their ability to mobilize. It does this particularly to neutrophils, monocytes, and phagocytes. Okay? And in doing that, it has a role in the production, the differentiation, and the proliferation of T cells into cytotoxic T cells.
Okay.
What does it all mean, Basil?
Yes. Tell me more. Do tell me more, about what that is.
So basically, it's helping your immune system, your innate immune system, and the neutrophils, monocytes, and the phagocytes to make new ones, to function better and well, okay, and to move to where they need to go, to mobilize themselves. It puts them on alert. And then it helps the adaptive immune system by helping the T cells create more T cells, differentiate and produce cytotoxic T cells. There's different types of T cells. One of them being that we talked about in your gut was Treg cells, the border agents. The cytotoxic T cells are similar in the fact that when they come across like an antigen, otherwise known as a foreign invader or a bacteria or whatnot, it's going to release chemicals that are toxic to that cell. In other words, so they're going to basically poison it to kill it. All right, and this is your adaptive immune system. So this is the immune system that learns as it goes.
Okay,
This is your immune system that gets better because you ate dirt.
Good.
Okay, so it increases your B cells production. So the B cells are another part of your adaptive immunity, and they get stronger and they start to produce more of them with vitamin C. It then also creates or allows for an increase in interferon neuron production, which are also used to help fight viruses and bacteria. Okay, we said it increases macrophages, which means for the innate immune system, it increases its ability to eat other things like dying cells, viruses, bacteria, protozoa, parasites, anything that's not good for you. It decreases the antigens by killing them, and then it increases your macrophages' antimicrobial actions. Okay, so it's scrubbing your body, and then it increases the oxidative production from the immune system to fight infections. All right, it works in the innate immune system by increasing your natural killer cells, and by doing that, increases the natural killer cell activity, so it can fight against foreign invaders, and its ability to eat other foreign invaders or dying cells, and its ability to kill cells through chemotaxis. It then, I said earlier, it increases beta cells, which is a part of your adaptive immune system, which means that you are going to have increased production of antibodies. Okay? It's going to increase the immunoglobulin M's, the immunoglobulin G's, the immunoglobulin A's, which are like antibodies to bacteria and to all sorts of infections. Remember, the IgA, the immunoglobulin A, is what hangs out in the mucosal lining of your nose and your throat and your lungs and your GI tract. Okay, it increases plasma cell production as well. All right, it also increases your T cells, which is another part of your adaptive immune system, and in doing so, that increases interleukin-2, which is another form of protection against foreign invaders. It increases the cytotoxic activity of those T cells, and it polarizes them, the T helper cells. So it just wakes them up, makes them bigger, better, stronger, more badass. It basically equips them with AK-47s, grenades, Glocks, and
and gives them a game
rocket
plan.
launchers,
and gives them a game plan.
And gives them a game plan.
Gives them their orders,
and tells them, hey, you're going this way.
Yeah.
We're going to the south towards this. It helps white blood cells migrate to the sites that are infected. So it helps them understand where they're going to go and when to go. So it does that. It controls, this is the cool part, after it does all that, it then controls the immune system from reacting excessively against a possible infection or inflammation.
Yeah.
So why is that important? COVID-19, cytokine storm. The immune system is overactive or acting excessively. This helps control that, which is why they're using it in COVID-19 to help people who have COVID-19 not get that cytokine storm. Okay. There's more. It decreases the infections. We'll talk about the bacterial. It decreases bacterial infections. In particular, it decreases your chances of a lower respiratory tract infection, like pneumonia. Okay, so it decreases the duration and the symptoms of a common cold and the flu. So you may have it. It decreases everything that comes along with it. It decreases the symptoms of pneumonia, but it's also can be used they think, as a preventative to catching those as well. For the number of reasons that we just talked about. If you strengthen your immune system, it'll fight off that infection before that infection actually gets rapid and starts to bother you. They use it, and this is what's really cool. They've been experimenting with intravenous vitamin C. So they've been pumping people with high doses. When I say high doses, I mean like 500 milligrams of vitamin C daily. And they do that to help treat what's called ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. Okay. Remember, infection of the lungs.
Right.
Sepsis. Okay. Which is just a systemic infection that's circulating through your bloodstream. That's going to cause multi-organ failure and death, and then also septic shock. All right. In doing so, they have found that they've been able to decrease those patients' mortality, meaning that they don't die as often or as soon, and they decrease their length of stay in the hospital. So they don't have to stay as long to be cared for. Aside from treating the bacteria, it also fights viruses. Okay, again, going back to COVID-19, but other viruses as well, like the flu. It decreases the viral load, and it does that because it creates it helps increase antiviral cytokines. And it controls the free radicals or the reactive oxygen species that are formed by the immune system. That's how it does it. Now, it would be do you have anything to add to that or anything? Or are you kind of like...
I'm trying to absorb it all in. So just, I got nothing to add right now.
You're like, this is cool. It does all this shit.
Yeah. My mind, I'm still picking up pieces from my mind explosion.
Oh, from earlier?
Minutes ago. Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. So the newest form of treatment, so they've been doing intravenous vitamin C for a little while now, since they've discovered it. I probably would say maybe 5-10 years, because they found it to be so helpful in sepsis.
See, I would have thought that this might have been too much. Like that might have been too much vitamin C all at one time, over and over and over. But I guess it's been great. Yeah,
and they haven't really found that it, side effects, harmful side effects.
Okay.
And remember, it's water soluble.
Okay.
Which means that it's easier for your body to like piss it out. Okay. To get rid of it. So if you get too much of it, you can, for the most part, unless you have some renal disease, and it might be harmful on your kidneys if you have some kidney issues, but for the most part, you can just get rid of it. Okay. You just leak it out. But what they've also done, X, is that they've used it with hydrocortisone and thiamine. Remember thiamine?
Vitamin B.
Vitamin B1, exactly. Yep. They use those three in combination to treat people with sepsis, but also recently for COVID-19.
Okay.
And it has decreased the death from both of those.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I remember speaking to a doctor in the middle of the height of the crisis. I think, whatever the timeline was, it was bad, and that's what the doctor was telling me was we're using vitamins. Yeah. Vitamins. We're using B, D, C, vitamins. I'm like, oh, good. Those are, I use all those, I get all those vitamins.
Why aren't we telling people this, though?
I don't know.
Why aren't we like...
Because people like cookies.
Oh, man.
And candy.
But I just don't get it, man. I don't understand why our CDC, why our NIH, why our general surgeon, why these people in these high offices don't come out and say, listen, we have a vaccine. That's great. But here are some other things you can do to improve upon the vaccination as well as your health, the totality of your health. Take some vitamins or more.
I think part of what it is, the more people know, the less they will depend or need to depend on these organizations. I think that the relationship between the people and the government it's not a very well working relative. I mean,
what's getting worse?
The government wants people to depend on them. They want people to depend on them, so they don't give all the information, the necessary information to let people to educate people in an order that they can manage all on their own. And people shouldn't necessarily have to just be able to do it all by themselves. These organizations should be there to help, to learn, to do the research, to figure it out, spread the information so that the people can take the information and apply it.
But now we're starting to go down, I agree with you, but we're starting to go down Conspiracy Cove.
Well, and maybe, or is it even the more that comes out, the less it's like, is it conspiracy or
oh no, it seems like reality, and you see people, people do not trust their government at all today. They don't trust the media. They don't trust anything. So what's going to happen? They're going to eventually revolt.
Yep.
And then they're going to be like, well, why didn't we just tell them the truth? Why didn't we just empower them? Why couldn't we just told them they can help themselves?
There's another side to it, though, and that is the people side. And we've talked about this before. We as people don't do enough for ourselves.
That's right.
We don't almost like we don't. Part of it is the lack of education, but the other part is the not using the education. Don't know, don't care. Don't need to know why. Just tell me.
Well, that's what you just said. We're soft. We're entitled. And apathetic. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like you said, we were talking earlier about muscle cars, like if you're a man, if you have any ounce of manliness, you know how to work on your car a bit. Yeah. You know how to do the basic things.
We might get in trouble for that.
I don't care. But it's true though.
What I said was, I think that you're a more manly man if you know how to work on your own car.
That's right.
And
if you can't change a fucking flat, then you're not a man. If you don't, you know what I mean? Give me a break.
Man, that's a thin line these days. But yeah, you should. All people should know how to change a tire.
I agree.
And there's a difference between knowing how to do it, wanting to do it, and then just getting somebody else to do it.
But here's the deal.
If you don't want to do it and you can get somebody else to do it, that's fine.
People need to be self-reliant. Mm-hmm. They need to have self-resilience.
Yeah.
And they need to persist and persevere against any and all things. You can't count on somebody else to help you. And this is an example. If you're taking care of yourself, then you're less likely to get sick. That's what we're telling. That's what we're telling people.
Yeah.
But God damn it, man. You can at least eat an orange while changing your oil.
I would recommend an apple for changing the oil because it's got its own protective skin on there. Is that collagen, by the way, that surrounds the apple?
No, okay. That's not not at all.
Not collagen. Keratin. Keratin. No. Is that a keratin surrounding? What about the orange peel? What's that made of?
That's
fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should have known that.
Yeah,
I just had to talk myself through it.
You're going down, Macho Man Alley right now, and you're just coming up with a bunch of shit on your brain, but.
It's spinning around in there. It's spinning around. It's like a Tasmanian devil inside of my head right now.
Right, exactly. Oh man. Speaking of which, but anyway, the
it's
point.
Hard. It's hard. Like some of these things and concepts are hard. There's a lot of information. Like what we've talked about so far already. Like I said, mind was blown. I'm picking up the pieces. We're moving on. There's a lot more to know and or to at least understand or not understand, but to apply and really. It sounds hard. It seems hard, but it's just habit.
But, going back, you don't need to know the science. I'm telling you the science. I'm telling you the why. You don't need to know the nuances and the science.
Right.
You should know from yourself, processed foods, not so good.
Mm-hmm.
Real foods are good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why you want to eat some fruits and vegetables and have some meats.
Yeah.
There's a reason. You want to be healthy. And I get it. I'm the first one to say, I think that it's the fault of our society and the fault of our culture that fails people in being healthy. I don't blame it on the individual. I blame it on those two things, society and culture. But that's a rant for another time. But anyway, so I also wanted to speak to, did you know that vitamin C helps with recovery from exercise?
I would have just said, of course.
Of course.
Of course it does.
Sure, you would be right.
They all do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's an easy blanket statement, a blanket answer, though.
So remember, we talked about on one of our podcasts when we talked about the open window concept. And for those that didn't see that, it's basically the concept that when I exercise, there's a lot of lactic acid released, nitrous oxide that's released, a lot of carbon dioxide that's released, which basically makes my environment acidic, and therefore I get sore. They're finding that it's not really the case anymore. Mm-hmm. That really what happens is you're exercising, you're doing a lot of physical activity, you're breaking your body down, which is releasing inflammation. You're basically causing inflammation because it's the second stage of tissue healing. And that inflammation is what causes you to get sore. And so when we talk about vitamin C, that's how it helps you with exercise recovery, is that it helps suppress pro-inflammatory cytokines, and it helps speed the recovery of the oxidative stress. That's it. Okay, so that's what it does. Now, I think that's about it. That's all we have. There's a lot of information there, but now we should talk about if you're deficient.
Just real quick to talk what you just said. I just want to kind of wrap my mind around that. Instead of when I'm thinking anti-inflammatory means, there's inflammation, get it out of there, clear it out, use the ice, use the ibuprofen or whatever anti-inflammatory, or vitamin or whatever, to get it out of there. But instead of getting it out of there, maybe it's not get the inflammation to go away, but get that process to speed up, to heal faster. If it heals faster, the inflammation gets less because it's less needed and it's less painful, less bothersome or sore, and then you're stronger. Then it's better.
Well, that's what we do in our line of work. We're trying to facilitate tissue healing.
Yeah,
we're trying to facilitate functional return and recovery. We're not there to stop it. We're not there to cause it. We're there to help facilitate it. So that's what this does. And remember, we talked about sometimes your immune system will excessively react to what you've been exposed to or what you're going through. And so what that's saying is it's going to speed the recovery, and it's going to calm down or prevent the excessive reaction of pro-inflammatory cytokines. Again, the same concept when you're talking about COVID-19. People who suffer from a cytokine storm. Certain cytokines cause inflammation. Certain cytokines are anti-inflammation. The ones that cause a cytokine storm are your pro-inflammatory cytokines. They're the ones, it's like a very drastic what am I looking for here? Immune reaction. Okay, it's one of the things that people with like psoriatic arthritis develop, or Crohn's, and it's a condition in which your immune system is thinking something's going on, worse than it really is. So it's reacting, but it's going to react. It's overly reacting, and so vitamin C is going to help calm that down a little bit. It doesn't prevent it, because you've got to have some of that inflammation in order to heal. It just kind of calms it down. It keeps it in check. Keeps it in balance or homeostasis. That's cool. All right. So when it comes to a deficiency, if you're deficient in vitamin C, what do you think?
Sick all the time.
Sick all the time, yeah. Got a crappy immune system. What about the idea of collagen?
Weak skin, probably. Scurvy. I would say, maybe sores, just, sickly looking, pale, more pale, less color, dried out or dehydrated.
Well, just decrease. You're going to have decreased collagen synthesis, so it's going to be harder to heal, and you're going to have weaker bonds. The collagen's going to be weaker.
Yeah. So it's going to increase permeability.
Well,
I just wanted to say that word.
You just wanted to say it as a cool word.
Will get through your skin easier, or
not necessarily.
No?
Just a weaker bond. Well, I mean, it's going to be more brittle, more easier to injure.
Okay, so easier to tear or open up, and then once it's open, then things can get in.
Right. So again, it decreases your chances for healing. It also decreases. This is something we haven't talked about, and we don't necessarily need to. But vitamin C is responsible, or partly responsible, for developing oxidizing enzymes, which are used in metabolizing certain drugs, medications. Okay? So if you're deficient, you're going to have less oxidative enzymes, and therefore your drug metabolism will be decreased, which means that the medication won't be as helpful as one may think.
Okay.
All right. The other thing is that, after all that, when the bottom line, the overarching theme is that you'll have an increased risk and impact of infection. Okay. Yep. So being sick. All right. You want to name sources for vitamin C? You got some off the top of your head, I'm pretty sure.
Sure. Yeah. Oranges. I don't know. That was the first one that came to mind. Oranges,
tomatoes, cabbage, spinach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about kale? Is it in kale?
I think so.
Or collard greens.
I'm not sure if it's in collard greens. I'd have to look that up.
Okay. I love collard greens, but I like them cooked.
Green peas, berries.
Berries. Okay.
Very rich in berries.
Dark berries?
Yes.
Okay.
All your berries.
Antioxidants.
Well, the vitamin C is an antioxidant.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, all your berries. It's in your peppers.
Oh yeah.
It's in
peppers.
It's in any citrus fruit, and it's in your cantaloupe. Okay.
Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe.
What about watermelon?
The cool thing. It's also, I don't think so.
Okay.
Or it might be a little bit, but I'm not fully sure. I have to look that up. It's also present within organ meats.
Those organ meats resurface again.
Well, it goes back to...
I've had 0 organ meat since our last organ meat conversation.
Oh, really? Yeah. Organ meats are very high, or not very high, but they do have adequate amounts of vitamin C. And the other problem, too, is that vitamin C competes... There's a competition between glucose, salt, water, and vitamin C. And so the more sugar you take, the more vitamin C you need. We don't necessarily fully understand that mechanism, but you need more. And the reason that some think that is that because sugar feeds infections. We have good bacteria and bad bacteria in our body. And if you're feeding them, they can go rogue, and the vitamin C is needed to counteract that. And this is where the carnivore diet comes in and say, well, if I don't have any sugar, then I don't need as much vitamin C. It can really just lend itself to other important tasks as apart from keeping those infections at bay that I've allowed to go rampant because of my sugar intake. But it can work on other things like the collagen synthesis and the immune system development and things like that. So it's kind of contentious, it sounds like, between plant strong advocates, vegans, as well as carnivores. But the bottom line is that meat does have, especially the organ meats, does have some vitamin C. Just not as high as in berries or citrus.
That's good. That's a struggle.
So if you're a child, you're going to require anywhere from 15 to 50 milligrams a day of vitamin C. And that basically goes from like the age of 0 to 8, okay? And actually it's more like 0 to like 15.
I don't suppose they're getting that from their high C punch.
Well, they may have, they probably put that in there. They probably
enriched thinking the name high C punch.
Just drop it in.
Just drop it in. To make you think that you're getting it.
Yeah, as well as a number of other things, like the processed sugar that we talked about.
Right. Probably more sugar in there that would negate the
quote-unquote natural flavors. Yeah. The natural flavor of raspberry, which is, an excretion of
beaver.
Beaver, next to their anus.
Anal glands.
Yes, exactly.
Or beaver butt.
That's the natural flavor I want. Ugh.
Is that why when you give somebody a raspberry, it sounds like beaver fartings?
Is that right?
I don't know. Yes.
Is that why their anus is puckered?
Perhaps.
No, I wouldn't know. I don't know.
Let's move on.
Okay.
No more butt talk.
Nobody's going to like the butt talk. Yeah. All right. So if you're a woman or a man or child or a trans child or whatever, if you're a child.
Undecided. You're an undecided child.
Regardless of gender, you're going to require 15 to 50 milligrams
across the board
of vitamin C a day.
Great.
Okay, a day. If you are an adult man, you're going to require 90 milligrams of vitamin C a day. Okay. If you're an adult woman, you're going to require 75 milligrams of vitamin C a day. All right. And then if you're a pregnant woman, you require 85 milligrams of vitamin C. And if you're lactating, you need 120 milligrams of vitamin C a day. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. You're pushing that shit through your kid. You're getting your kid's getting that. So it's important.
I have a friend just had a baby and then immediately got COVID. Had COVID. So I don't know. It's like, hey,
got to get her on vitamin C. It sounds like
vitamin C, and I don't know what the vitamin regimen was.
All the vitamins.
The diet, I don't think was terrible, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, remember when she's pregnant and she's lactating, she's going to require more nutrients, not only to feed herself, but to feed the children.
2 people, 2 bodies.
Exactly right. Plus all that growth and development. So I mean, that's jacked up there. That's why those pregnancy pills are like horse pills. They're gigantic.
Yeah.
That's the ones you take.
The pregnancy pills?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
You don't take those things?
Well, no, my vitamins are pretty big.
Are they?
Yeah. The multivitamins. I mean, they're big capsule looking things or gel. They're like tabs, gel tabs.
Well, we got to talk about that down the road too. Is like all these processed and artificial vitamins and minerals or other nutrients. What does it do to your liver?
We're going to have to bring it back around. Yeah, we're going to have to bring it back around to the supplement vitamins.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier about the collagen supplements.
Right.
I'm seeing a lot of people using a collagen supplement, drink or pills or whatever to get collagen in their systems.
Well, the question is, if you're taking the collagen, if it's not being degraded by your stomach and by the intestines, and then if it's absorbed into your system, and then the liver says, okay, you're free to circulate around the body through your blood supply. Does the tissue that require it need it? Okay,
and get it,
and is it? Yeah, well, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's circulating through the blood, and when it gets there, if it wants it, does it take it up? Does it absorb it? Grab it and use it. And so it goes back to what we talked about before. How do you stimulate your body to heal? Well, you have to apply certain things. And for the most part, the best way to stimulate your body to heal from whatever it is through activity. If you're not stimulating your body to heal, it doesn't feel like it needs the nutrient. If it doesn't feel like it needs the nutrient, it won't take in the nutrient. If it doesn't take in the nutrient, then it just circulates in your bloodstream and then eventually is released to your kidneys or your asshole.
So body will do a quick check. All right, what did we do yesterday? What did we do this week? Did we get up and move around? Did we go for a walk, a run, a ride a bike? Did we go out to any stores? Did we do anything? No. All right. What did we do? Just laid around, watched TV, laid in bed. And didn't do much of anything, so we don't really need it. Get rid of it.
And that's if all things go well. I mean, that's not to say that, okay, maybe you have Crohn's, and so you have less likely to absorb that nutrient anyway. Okay, so like there's so many different factors. So it's not a bad idea. The theory sounds feasible.
Yeah,
but in practice, it hasn't been shown to be as evident as we thought it would be.
Okay.
That being said, though, I don't think there's anything wrong with introducing collagen to your body. I'm a big proponent for natural bone broth.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. Partly because if you're making that natural bone broth, and you're doing it with spinach, you're going to drink that broth, which means you're going to get the C, you're going to get some collagen, all right? You're going to get some meat with it too, most likely. So now you got protein, you got some fat, you got some collagen, you got the vitamin C, you got some iron, you got some copper, you got some zinc.
That sounds like an all around healthy soup.
Now you're good to go. And
like
those are just
the real body armor.
That's right. And that's just two things, right? Meat with the bone.
Yeah.
With some spinach.
Yeah.
Does a world of good.
Bone-in meat and spinach.
That's right. The problem is nowadays people get their soup through canned soup, which you don't know how they're processing it, and nobody tends to cook soup with
takes time.
Bone and meat. Yeah.
I mean, just to cook your soup alone takes time.
I know it takes a lot of time. But those are discussions that we can have down the road. The bottom line is, if you're getting these nutrients and you're getting them together, hopefully you're getting them naturally. It does your body a world of good.
Yeah.
And we're just going down. We're just chipping away at that that iceberg, helping people understand why vitamin C works well. But if you don't have selenium and zinc and iron, if you don't have vitamin E, then it's only going to be able to do a fraction of what we just talked about.
Right.
That's the bottom
line.
One
wall of the house.
Which
ain't stopping shit.
That's right. And then let's get after it, man. Let's. As a whole, as a society, let's help each other and let's get after it. Let's take care of one another and do better for ourselves.
Love it.
Boom. Okay. I'm good. Are you good?
I'm good. I'm good. Take us out.
So, all right. I'll take us out. We want to, again, we're trying to gather some support. We would like to help out the Muscular Dystrophy Association and SMA. We like to help out cystic fibrosis. We both are passionate about these associations, so anything that is donated or provided to us, we plan on donating a portion, 25% of those portions, towards those associations to help them with whatever they need, but hopefully predominantly research. But if it requires, getting a kid a red wagon because, that child has a hard time walking from house to house during Halloween, hey, go for it. The rest of that would be used to keep us alive and to help us pay for material, and
Improve the quality of the show.
improve the quality of the show, to give you information that we want to maintain as free. We don't want to charge you for it, but any sponsorship or donations that we receive will go towards those reasons. The other thing that we'd like to say is we'd like to say thank you. There's a couple of giants that we're standing on their shoulders, and we just, for the rest of the year, we just want to say thank you to these individuals. So I'd like to say thank you. We got a visitor.
I do. Somebody's at the door.
Yeah, I know. You want to go check on him?
Yeah, I'm going to go check the door. Thank you, everybody. Thank
he's going to
you,
be
all the
part
people.
of. He's probably part of our crew.
Maybe.
So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, just give him like the finger to say wait, and then come back in here so you can check out with us. Okay. So I want to say thank you to Joe Rogan, monster inspiration for us providing this information. I want to say thank you to Adam Meekins and Greg Lehman. I'd like to also say thank you to Sean Carroll and Sam Harris. If it wasn't for these individuals, I don't think that we would be in this position. I don't think we'd be providing this information, and I don't think that we'd be trying to do everything we can to help our society. So we want to say thank you to those guys, and call it a day. We'll see you guys at the next podcast. Take it easy.
That's it. So long.
Shalom.
So long.
Mazel tov.